all so much for tuning in to this episode of Assisted Laudable Living. I'm your host, Jasheena RevJ Shelton. And yes, I am excited that you all have tuned in and decided to spend this moment with me. Look, we're going to jump right in because I've got questions. And I think you have questions too. One of the questions that's come up, not just recently and not really for me, but more so from the feedback I've received, is how do we know, is our purpose still our purpose? Are we still called in midlife, right? Because there's something that happens in midlife when you are at that point where you possibly could have more days behind you than ahead of you. And so you're doing all this reflection of what is my life? What am I called to do? What am I supposed to do? Have I done it? Have I said what needs to be said? Have I done what needs to be done? Right? Those are viable questions, right? And so if you're asking today, am I still called? This is the episode for you. So today we're actually in the book of John. So New Testament, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. We're in the book of John, fourth book in the New Testament. And John, in here, there is a story. And it's familiar to some people, but I want to make sure that we look at it from a fresh lens, okay? And so in the story, in John, the 11th chapter, and I'm going to read it out the Blue Letter Bible. See, this is legit. This is not me making up anything. Out the Blue Letter Bible, because I always want to make sure I'm giving you practical stuff that you also can look at and look up on your own, right? All right, so anywho, we're in John, we're in the 11th chapter, and the story that we're going to jump into is one about purpose and calling. And we're going to put this, it's all going to work, right? All right, so I'm going to actually jump all the way down to the 20th verse. And I'm reading out of the New Living Translation because it makes it so plain for us. No ifs, ands, buts, thee, thou, they. Okay? It's real plain. The New Living Translation, John 11:20. When Martha got word that Jesus was coming, she went to meet him, but Mary stayed in the house. Martha said to Jesus, "Lord, if only you had been here, my brother would not have died. But even now I know that God will give you whatever you ask." Jesus told her, "Your brother will rise again." "Yes," Martha said, "he will rise when everyone else rises at the last day." Jesus told her, "I am the resurrection and life. Anyone who believes in me will live even after dying. Everyone who lives in me and believes in me will never die. Do you believe this, Martha?" "Yes, Lord," she told him. "I've always believed you are the Messiah, the Son of God, the one who has come into the world from God." Then she returned to Mary. She called Mary aside from the mourners and told her, "The teacher is here and wants to see you." So Mary immediately went to him. Jesus stayed outside the village at the place where Martha met him. When the people who were at the house consoling Mary saw her leave so hastily, they assumed she was going to Lazarus' grave to weep. So they followed her there. When Mary arrived and saw Jesus, she fell at his feet. "Lord, if only you'd been here, my brother would not have died." When Jesus saw her weeping and saw the other people wailing with her, a deep anger welled up in him, and he was deeply troubled. "Where have you put him?" he asked. They told him, "Lord, come see." Then Jesus wept. The people who were standing nearby, "See how much he loved him?" But some said, "This man healed the blind man. Couldn't he have kept Lazarus from dying?" Jesus was still angry as he arrived at the tomb, a cave with a stone rolled across its entrance. "Roll the stone aside," Jesus told them. But Martha, the dead man's sister, protested, "Lord, he has been dead for 4 days. The smell would be terrible." Jesus responded, "Didn't I tell you that you would see God's glory if you believe?" So they rolled the stone aside. Then Jesus looked up to heaven and said, "Father, thank you for hearing me. You always hear me, but I said it out loud for the sake of all these people standing here, so that they will believe you sent me." Then Jesus shouted, "Lazarus, come out." And the dead man came out. His hands and feet were bound in grave clothes, his face wrapped in a headcloth. Jesus told them, "Unwrap him and let him go." Okay. So for those of us who have had moments in our life, because we're midlife now, had moments in our life where we were like, Lord, where were you? I don't hear you. I don't see you. You're not on our time schedule. Jesus is saying, do you still believe? He's not even saying help her unbelief in this situation. Is this what you believe? I'm laying this out for you. Is this what you believe? And the question goes out to us today. Is this what you believe? Are you still Bible based? Are you still following after me? Despite all the stuff that you've been through in life, despite everything that's going on right now with your children and your family and your doctor's reports, your health, your mental status, do you still believe? It's a point in our life where we have to get real specific about what it is we believe. And we've examined some stuff and we've explored some stuff, but we have to be able to stand 10 toes like Martha in what we've been told. Sir, I believe that I've always believed in you. I believed in what you've done. However, in this season, I'm not seeing with my natural eyes the things that I thought I would see. Things are not going, or they have not gone the way that I thought they should have gone. Because see, here's the thing. We had a close relationship, Jesus. You've been to my house before. You know where I live personally, and you've come and seen about me and my brother and fellowship with us before. But yet in this moment when I needed you, and I sent word for you to come, you were delayed. And in your delay, my brother died. I am grieving the loss of my brother, your friend. He is gone. And you're asking me what I believe? Yes, I believe. That has nothing to do with this. And then Jesus says that has everything to do with this. Because I am the resurrection. Not only am I going to set the example and the tone for the situation, watch and see, because God's going to get the glory out of this. And Jesus didn't even walk straight to the tomb to raise Lazarus up. He didn't do that. He said, you know what, y'all, I'm angry, I'm hurt, I'm grieving myself on one hand because y'all not listening. Y'all not listening and you're not applying. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this right here in front of you. And I'm going to show you how to do it for yourself and your situations, right? I'm going to show you that the dead things can be risen. I'm going to show you that in me being the resurrection of life, the fulfillment for me being here on earth in front of you is just for an example. You know what? I'm going to talk to God first. Father, I know you hear me. I've had to pray that prayer before this. Father, I know you hear me, but for the sake of these here, for the sake of these here, I'm going to need you to do it one more time. And what happened? After Jesus prayed, then he called forth the person, the thing that was dead. Now, when he called forth the dead thing, the woman who was missing the dead thing was like, wait a minute, it's going to smell. It's not pleasing and acceptable anymore. It started to decay. I don't want it decayed. I don't want it decrepit. I want it how it was before it got sick. Oh, that's a good one. I want it how it used to be. I want it how it was the last time you was here. But behold, he's doing a new thing. Right? Okay. Yeah. And so within this new thing that he's doing, he is showing us the blueprint. The blueprint is no matter how you feel, because remember it said in the verse that Jesus was angry. Said twice, matter of fact. Twice, 2 times. That's emphasis. Okay? So as a parent or as a person, if I have to repeat myself, or if I have to say something twice, the second time is for emphasis. So the emphasis here is he got upset. Because he's what? Human. Oh, in this text, this is the humanity of Jesus being displayed. He had feelings and emotions in this text. So if we're made in God's image and Jesus is our blueprint, then to deny our feelings and emotions will be to deny the very way that God made us. And that's not pleasing or acceptable. But that's a whole nother nugget. Focus. All right. John 11. Jesus got angry. And in his anger, he didn't sin, he didn't cuss, he didn't stomp, he didn't have a hissy fit, he didn't shut down. He went straight to his daddy. Yeah, I'm just going to let it sit. Because the word speaks for itself. I don't have to say nothing. He went straight to his daddy. And he was like, I know you hear me. You always hear me. And when you're a child and you're talking to your parents and y'all have a good relationship, you always hear me. Oh, okay. But I said it out loud. Verse 42. I said it out loud for the sake of these people standing here, so that they will believe that you sent me. Because the people had started murmuring. You know, this group right here in this Bible is good for some murmuring, honey. They didn't learn about the last time, the 40-some generations ago, where that murmuring got them. They still murmuring. That murmuring spirit is still on them. So therefore, this tells me, in our situations, it's not good to murmur, because that appears to upset Jesus, right? Where you're murmuring and complaining about situations that he's already taken care of. Yeah. Okay. So then, after Jesus spoke to his Father, our Father who art in heaven, like the blueprint that he laid out. Okay. So after he spoke to his Father, then he spoke to the deceased man. The dead situation, the thing that was already buried in a tomb, encased, wrapped up in grave clothes, behind the stone that had to be rolled away. Oh, okay. So in other versions, they roll the stone away. There's a rolling away of the stone. You know, like on resurrection, they roll the stone. Okay, great. Because one thing leads to another, and it's all connected. Okay. So there's a big old stone covering the mouth of the cave. The stone, the immovable object that had been put there for permanence, had to be pushed out the way. So the thing that's that's in front of you, that's denying your access to something, has to be rolled away. That's what I see. Like, if y'all see something different, feel free to leave it in the comments. But that's exactly what I see. And it's not just my sanctified imagination. That's what the text says. Jesus shouted, Lazarus, come out. And the dead man came out. So, when Jesus speaks to a situation that we may have given up on, what happens? Fresh breath. New life. Oh, okay. In this text, he didn't change his name. It's the same person. He didn't say, oh, he's going to get a new name today. No, he's still Lazarus. Lazarus from around the way. Yep. He's Lazarus. And Lazarus came out, his hands and feet bound in grave clothes. So, pretty much like the mummies that you would see on TV. He's mummified. Like the wrapping, not the whole focus. Okay, great. So he is wrapped up in grave clothes, his face wrapped in a headcloth. So what I'm seeing is, even after death, when you hear Jesus call, you need to come. So for some of us, right, we're in midlife and we hear Jesus calling, and we not coming. We hear the voice. We know the small whisper. We know what the Bible has told us to do, but we still not doing it. If someone who is deceased and has been dead by witness testimony for 4 days can hear the voice of Jesus and get up from their dead situation, how much more can we who are quote unquote in midlife do when we hearken to the voice, hearken to hear? Oh, okay. I'm saying we get so wrapped up in what we're going through. And woe is me, I'm the only one. This is terrible. Why? And it sounds like that Charlie Brown, wah, wah, wah. To God, it has to. How much can you really complain about in 1 week? Is it really necessary, and is it changing anything? Absolutely not. But could Jesus handle their questions? He absolutely could. Could he handle Martha's hurt, Mary's grief, the mourners around them? He absolutely could. Because he knew the bigger picture. Because before he met up with them, he had already told the disciples, look, Lazarus is dead. He did. However, he's dead, but we're going to go and get him because he's asleep. Now, the disciples were confused, and of course, Thomas had something to say, And of course, they reminded him that the people were just trying to kill him over there. Why would you go back to this place? But he's like, that's my homie, that's my friend, that's the one I know by name. I used to fellowship with him. His sister's hurting. His sisters are hurting. I am going to go and address this situation. Because at first he told the disciples, hey, Lazarus is asleep. That's up in verse 11. But I will go and wake him up. And they're like, if he's asleep, he can wake up on his own. And then Jesus was like, you know what? Because see, in Jasheena terms, I'll be, you know what, if I got to repeat myself again, or if I say, you know what, as long as y'all been around me, around my feet, you know what I mean when I say he's asleep. But now, okay, I'm going to break this down for you. So he said it plainly in verse 14, Lazarus is dead. And for your sakes, I'm glad I wasn't there. For now you will really believe. Come, let's go see him. Wait, he's dead. Oh, okay. So let's relate this back to midlife, okay? So in midlife, there may be some health challenges, right? And there may be some diagnosis. And there may be some things that you're up against that you weren't up against in your 20s. And you have a new a new way of looking at it. You have reframed it, okay? And so you're thinking to yourself as you're preparing for this last century or last half century of your life, what am I going to do? What does it look like? Go back to the original blueprint. What did God ask you to do? What gifts did he plant inside of you that he is expecting a return harvest on? The things that you've pushed to the side because you had to chase the job, you had to chase the career, you had to chase after the kids. Now that you're done chasing, can you get back to the main thing and let the main thing be the main thing? Because we wouldn't need all these examples and miracles if the people who were here who represented the miracle maker will walk in their purpose and their gifts. Okay? Because here's the thing. If we have a blueprint, then that's what we are to follow. A lot of these things that Jesus did, he's saying, I'm doing it for your sake. Now you're really going to believe. So if you believed on this level, now you're really going to believe because you're going to see this thing walked out in front of you. Being the resurrection of life doesn't just mean I'm going to die, be buried, and come back. It means the things that you're up against that have you feeling like you're dead and dying and desolate. Oh, those things may go down, but here's the thing. What rises up? What comes up? What's going to come up out of you in this season? You're questioning, am I still called? You're absolutely called. You're absolutely chosen. You're absolutely set apart. All of these things from your past and the skill sets that you have are for this time right here, Esther. This is the appointed season for you to bloom forth. You didn't bloom early because this is the time for you to bloom now. Wherever you're planted. If it's Judea, it's Judea. And Jesus will come to Judea. If it's in Bethany, it's in Bethany. Jesus will come to Bethany. But when he comes, you got to remember there's something that's inside of you is greater than what's going on outside of you because your body has the indwelling of the Holy Spirit, right? These are the basics that we know, but we've pushed them to the side because we're doing everything except for what God called us to do and wondering why everything is dead around us. Yeah. So... things may seem foggy and fuzzy and different because they are. But it's up to us now in this season to awaken what is dormant inside of us, to call it forth. And even if it has on grave clothes, even if it don't smell all rosy and fresh and Victoria's Secret-esque, Even if it don't look like the cover of a magazine, it's time for us to let it rise up and come forth in this season, because when it comes forth, it is now a living testimony. Come on, somebody. It's a living testimony of who Jesus is, because for real, no one else could have done it. It hasn't been done before. No one else could have done it the way he did it. And the things that you're up against, no one else can do it the way you do it. Okay, so here, sometimes we will dumb down and play down and back down when there's greater in us. And some people say it's a trauma response, it's this, it's that, and the other. Whatever it was what it was. Put it at the foot of the cross. Because whatever needs to be resurrected in you, whatever he's calling forth up out of you, stop blocking it. Roll the stone away. Start with your mouth. Start speaking those things that be not as though they were. When he said Lazarus was not there on that side, right? He was encased. He was in the tomb. He was not out the tomb. He was in there with the dead stuff. He was in the darkness. But he was called out of the darkness, and he was called to the light on the land of the living. And when he came out of the darkness in the land of the living, then the witnesses all had something to say. Run, tell that. And some of them did. They went straight to the religious leaders and was like, oh my goodness, let me tell you what Jesus did now. Let me tell you what Jesus did now. Tell them that, let the people who run tell that, let them run and tell of the goodness of God. Let them run and tell of the good things that he's brought you out of. But they can't run tell that if you still doing what you was always doing instead of what you were supposed to be doing. That part. So how did God get the glory out of this story? And what's our call to action now? Because here's what happens. You got to keep reading in John. But what happens is people ran back and they told the religious leaders Jesus did this thing. And they were like, oh my gosh, here he goes again. And so then the religious leaders started plotting and planning. How are we going to get him off the scene? The people keep believing in him. He's going to upset our commerce. He's going to upset some stuff. We like things the way they are. And so they started to use this story against him. However, you can't, because what God has for you is for you. And they didn't even know that they were just a part of the bigger picture. All of these things had to happen. The grief, the mourning, the upset, the hurt, the pain, the sorrow for the resurrection, the calling out, the rebirth, the new life, the unwrap him, the loosing him, and letting him be. All those things had to happen in that order because God is a God of order. So all the stuff that we've been through in our past that had us bound and tied up and restricted, be it mentally, physically, or emotionally, however it was, this season here is a Lazarus season. Come forth. The things that's inside of you need to come forth. You need to remove the bonds and the breakage, because it was the people who had to loose Lazarus after he came forth. They had to unwrap him because they were the ones who wrapped him. And we can take that back to trauma too. Some of the things you went through wrapped you up and changed your whole dynamic of who you could have been. But however, all that still works for God to get the glory, because you went through all that. You are who you are. You're going to be who you're going to be, all for God's glory. Your gifting, your calling, your abuse, your misuse, your neglect, all for God's glory. Your addiction, your subtraction, your kids, your finances, all for God's glory. The whole you and your whole totality of life, that dash that's going to be on your tombstone, is for God's glory. He's going to get the glory out of it. You just have to walk in it. We just have to walk forth. We don't know if we're really at midlife. A lot of us want to believe we're going to live to be 90, 100, 110. That's fine and good. Some of us are going to die earlier. And it's not going to be a Lazarus resurrected on this side. It's going to be a different type of resurrection, right? We don't know. There's a commercial that says you don't know your expiration date. You don't know your expiration date, but live the life that you have in front of you for His glory. You're doing the world a disservice sitting on your gifts and talents. The time is nigh. For those of us who are talented, who are gifted, who are called, who are chosen, who are set apart, to act like it. Okay? Okay. Yeah, I didn't step on your toes too hard. Because look, I stepped on mine first. So hey, we all got smashed toes together. And it was my pinky toe. You know how that hurts when you stomp it. So yeah. Yeah. All right. So I want to make sure y'all are good. Y'all good? Breathe with me. Now, you know, if you're subscribed, you're definitely going to get the downloadable worksheet, the journal prompts, and all that. It's not going to be soap method. We've moved on. We're doing something different, but it'll be blog style with some journal prompts, okay? Because this is a deep word in John, and for those of us who are called according to His name, we've got work to do. All right? Y'all ready to go to work? Me too. All right. Until next time, I will see you again on Assisted Laudable Living. You all be blessed. Look for the email if you're subscribed. If you're not subscribed, go on and hit the button, like and subscribe. There you go. All right. Y'all take care. Until next time, I'm Jasheena, RevJ Shelton of Jasheena Shelton Enterprises, the sole sponsor of Assisted Laudable Living.